This is the hardware bag that has all of the bolts, nuts, tools, and instructions. This is the parts bundle that has the 5 poles. And these are the 3 frame pieces, the 2 ends and the center frame. They stack together. You want to cut the plastic wrap off and remove the poles. Lay out all the hardware on the floor to see that you have all of the pieces. 14 nuts, 2 bitty screws for the optional shelf. They don't take a nut. 2 short screws, 8 medium screws, 2 medium long, and 2 long. It's important to note that these are very similar, so make sure that you separate the longest ones out. These are for the safety rail, and you will use these last. Very important. 1/2 inch TimberNest wrench that comes with it, 3/16 Allen wrench, 4 zip ties. We'll use these in the end to secure the bed spring to the loft bed so it doesn't slide. Before you assemble the loft bed, you want to determine what height you're going to set it at. 3 height settings. You have the highest, medium, the low. Highest is most common. You should have an 8-foot ceiling or better. Maximizes space underneath. Middle height setting, if you have slightly under 8 feet, you could still set it at a desk at that level. Lower height setting, not working space underneath. Could put storage items or a couch perhaps. Another very important thing is to make sure that the end is orientated so it is standing on its feet. Its feet are these plastic caps down at the bottom. If you're missing one, come out to the TimberNest booth. We'll be happy to give you one. You don't want to scratch your floors, and the school may charge you for that. The way to tell the bottom also is the top has a big distance from this top rung to the top of the end assembly. So we assemble the loft bed on its side with the back of the loft bed facing up, and then when the parts are together we stand it up. First thing you want to make sure is the orientation of this center frame. These 2 holes are sticking up, that's the back side for the brace, and that this opening of the angle is facing away from the wall. Then you want to take 2 of the medium screws, and you're going to put that right through the end into the center frame. And we are assembling this at the highest setting. If you decide to change the height setting, you have to completely dismantle the loft bed and reassemble at the lowest setting or the middle height. So we just put these 2 screws and nuts in here. Everything's finger tight for now. At this point, we've only used 4 of the medium screws. The next step, we'll put the braces on, and you'll use the 2 short and the 2 medium long, not the longest ones, and not the biddies, that's for the optional shelf, and 4 nuts. Next, we're going to use the medium length skinny poles, the braces. Just set them on there at an angle. We're going to take the short screw, put it through the hole on the center frame, start it up, hand tight, same for this one, hand tight, then we go underneath. Now to line this all up, this piece moves because you haven't tightened it yet. So you can line that up fairly easily. Repeat. We used the 4 remaining medium screws and 4 nuts. Next step, we use the 2 cross supports. This is what the bed frame rests on. We set them temporarily here at an angle while we get our hardware. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to insert the top screw. Notice there's 2 holes on each end. We're going to start with the outermost hole. And I'll explain to you why we have 2 holes as we go on. Okay? We'll put one in there and one in the bottom. You want to make sure you put the screws in from this side and the nuts are on the underneath side of the center frame. We'll repeat the process over here. Again, I'm using the outermost holes. Now, the reason why there's more than 1 hole set, this is a universally designed loft bed to fit bed springs, bed frames, anywhere from 76 up to 84 inches long. So depending on your bed spring and the shape it is, you may have to move these in to the second hole in. And if you need to do that, you can start on one end to see if that'll suffice. If not, you'll have to bring them both in. But we like to start out farther to give it a little bit more wheelbase to begin with, so it's a little stronger. And when we go to set the bed spring in there in the end, then we'll finalize the position. This is the pillow shelf. It's an optional item, popular item. It goes on top of the legs at the end for night items like a phone or a book or what have you. The position when it's up, the ridges stay up so things don't fall off. If you notice, there's 2 slots on each end that's for different positions. You can cantilever it beyond the bed, which is probably the most effective. If you're tight for space, you can straddle it over the middle, or if you're really tight for space, you can flip it around and send it in. Now, the important thing to remember is to mount this on the end that you don't climb up on. So typically, if this is going to be in a corner, you would bring it down and mount it on this end right here. So I'm going to put this on while the bed is down. This is the easiest time to do it. There's threaded inserts right on the tops of the legs. You have this used the 2 bitty screws and the Allen wrench. Okay? And you just start that, leave it loose, come down, and you can get this one in as well. It helps to put your foot under here or lift it up a little bit. We'll tighten this one up right now so we don't forget about it later. There, pillow shelf is done.
Go ahead.
So now we're ready to pick the bed up and stand it on its feet. The bolts are still hand tight. We're going to tighten those after it's standing. You want to pick it up from the middle, move it away from the wall. And then just gently set it down. On the floor, like so.
Go ahead.
Now we're going to use the TimberNest 1/2-inch wrench to tighten the nuts with the Allen key. Notice the property of TimberNest right there. That comes back to us at the end of the school year. Thanks, appreciate that. So we're not going to tighten all the nuts. We're going to leave these 2 cross supports loose like I said before. So
Go ahead.
okay, so now we're ready to put the bed spring on. We're going to leave these loose and check the positions just in case they're going to interfere with these gussets. Typically you'll have 2 people doing this. I'll try to get it up with 1. We'll see how that goes. That's going to be a nice fit. These are sitting flat, no interferences, so I can position this where I want it. Typically, if this is the end that you climb up, you want to flush this or get it close to flush with this end. The reason why this bed spring is longer than the bed is because it's a universal bed designed to fit in tight spots, but that's nothing to worry about. If it sticks out a little bit on this end, it's really not going to hurt anything. You just, the end that you're going to climb up on, keep those protrusions in so you don't bump your head on them. If it's in a corner, you won't worry about the other end. So now we're going to center this on these cross supports, in and out, and then position it where we want it here.
Go ahead.
Now we're going to just tighten these cross supports. Don't have to kill these at all. Probably just get them firm tight. Okay, so the next step is to put the zip ties on the four corners of the bed spring, anchoring them to the cross supports so it doesn't slide around. And I'll show you how we do that. Next step is to put the anti-slip pad on top of the spring so the mattress doesn't slide around for safety. Okay, now we're ready for the mattress to be put on. This is not the type of mattress that you want to use, an air mattress such as this, but for the display here, that's what we're going to have. Set it on. This anti-slip pad really does work pretty well. Now we're almost ready to put that safety rail on. Okay, so now we're ready for the safety rail. The most important thing to put on this loft bed. The two long bolts, remember, the longest screws, 2 nuts. Some people choose to leave this safety rail off, but we highly suggest using the rail. It has saved over the years many broken bones because there have been a lot of people falling out of these, and every single time it's because they didn't have their safety rail on. They decided not to use it. Now here's the point. Do not put it in this second hole down if you're at the high setting. That is if you set it at the middle setting or at the low setting. It's always here. When you're up on this mattress and you roll over, your shoulder's going to hit that. It's not like you're in a crib or anything like that. You barely even notice it. So please use the safety rail. Appreciate that. Now we'll tighten that up.
Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. We're all done. Just please follow those steps. Should go together pretty well for you, and it'll be safe. Good for the school year. Thank you.